When this country was sick, our NHS was the nurse. Frontline care workers battled against a new disease selflessly, risking their lives, sacrificing their lives. And it is right that this party that has looked after the NHS for most of its history should be the one to rise to the challenge. 48 new hospitals, 50,000 more nurses, 50 million more GP appointments, 40 new diagnostic centres, and fixing those backlogs with real change. Because the pandemic not only put colossal pressure on the NHS, it was a lightning flash illumination of a problem we have failed to address for decades. In 1948, this country created the National Health Service, but kept social care local. And though that made sense in many ways, generations of older people have found themselves lost in the gap. When COVID broke, there were 100,000 beds in the NHS and 30,000 occupied by people who could have been cared for elsewhere, whether at home or in residential care. And we all know that this problem of delayed discharge is one of the major reasons why it takes too long to get the hospital treatment that your family desperately need. And people worry that they will be the one in 10 to suffer from the potentially catastrophic cost of dementia, wiping out everything they have and preventing them from passing on anything to their families. And we Conservatives stand by those who have shared our values, thrift and hard work, and who face total destitution in this brutal lottery of old age, in which treatment for cancer is funded by the state and care for Alzheimer's is not, or only partly. And to fix these twin problems of the NHS and social care, we aren't just going to siphon billions of new taxes into crucial services without improving performance. We will use new technology so that there is a single set of electronic records as patients pass between health and social care, improving care and ensuring that cash goes to the front line and not on needless bureaucracy. When I stood on the steps of Downing Street, I promised to fix this crisis. And after decades of drift and dither, this reforming government, this can-do government, this government that got Brexit done, that's getting the COVID vaccine rollout done, is going to get social care done. And we are going to deal with the biggest underlying issues of our economy and society, the problems that no government has had the guts to tackle before. And I mean the long-term structural weaknesses in the UK economy. It's thanks to the vaccine rollout that we now have the most open economy and the fastest growth in the G7. We have unemployment. We have unemployment 2 million lower than forecast. We have demand surging. And I'm pleased to say that after years of stagnation, more than a decade, wages are going up faster than before the pandemic began. And that matters deeply because we are embarking now on a change of direction that has been long overdue in the UK economy. We're not going back to the same old broken model with low wages, low growth, low skills and low productivity, all of it enabled and assisted by uncontrolled immigration. And the answer to the present stresses and strains, which are mainly a function of growth and economic revival, is not to reach for that same old lever of uncontrolled immigration, to keep wages low. The answer is to control immigration, to allow people of talent to come to this country, but not to use immigration as an excuse for failure to invest in people, in skills, and in the equipment, the facilities, the machinery. Or in the machinery, the facilities they need to do their jobs. The truck stops, to pick an example entirely at random, with basic facilities where you don't have to urinate in the bushes. And that is the direction in which this country is going now, towards a high-wage, high-skill, high productivity, and yes, thereby a low-tax economy. That is what the people of this country need and deserve. In which everyone can take pride in their work and in the quality of their work. And yes, it will take time, and sometimes it will be difficult. But that was the change that people voted for in 2016. And that was the change that people voted for again powerfully in 2019. And to deliver that change, we will get on with our job of uniting and levelling up across the UK. The greatest project that any government can embark on. We have one of the most imbalanced societies and lopsided economies of all the richer countries. It's not just that there's a gap between London and the southeast and the rest of the country. There are aching gaps within the regions themselves. What monkey glands are they applying in Ribble Valley? What royal jelly are they eating that they live 7 years longer than the people of Blackpool, only 33 miles away? Why does half of York's population boast a degree and only a quarter of Doncaster's? That is not just a question of social justice. It is an appalling waste of potential, and it is holding this country back. Because there is no reason why the inhabitants of one part of the country should be geographically fated to be poorer than others, or why people should feel they have to move away from their loved ones or communities to reach their potential. When Thomas Gray stood in that country churchyard in 1750 and wrote his famous elegy as the curfew tolled the knell of parting day, he lamented the wasted talents of those buried around him, the flowers born to blush unseen, the mute inglorious Miltons, who never wrote a poem because they never got to read, the simple folk who died illiterate and innumerate, and he knew that that was an injustice. And let me ask you, maybe you know, where was he standing when he chewed his pensive quill? Anybody know? Correct. He was thank you. He was standing in Stoke Poges. My friends, there may be underprivileged parts of our country, but Stoke Poges is not now among them. In fact, it was only recently determined by the Daily Telegraph, and you can't believe that, what can you believe, my friends, to be the eighth richest village in England. Since Gray elegized, Buckinghamshire has levelled up to be among the most productive regions in the whole of Europe. Stoke Poges may still, of course, have its problems, but they are overwhelmingly caused by the sheer lust of other people to live in or near Stoke Poges. Overcrowded trains, endless commutes, too little time with the kids, the constant anxiety that your immemorial view of chalk downland is going to be desecrated by ugly new homes. And that is why levelling up works for the whole country, and it is the right and responsible policy, because it helps to take the pressure off parts of the overheating southeast, while simultaneously offering hope and opportunity to those areas that have felt left behind. And let's be clear that there is a huge philosophical difference between us and Labour, because in their souls, they don't like levelling up. They don't like levelling up. They like levelling down. They do. They like decapitating the tall poppies and and taxing the rich till the pips squeak, and they dislike academic competition, Latin I hear, and in Islington, I kid you not, I've seen it with my own eyes, they like kids to run races, I've seen this, where nobody actually wins. And I have to tell you, I don't think that is a good preparation for life, let alone for the Olympic Games. And if you insist on the economic theory behind levelling up, it is contained in the insight of Vilfredo Pareto, a 19th century Italian figure who floated from the cobwebbed attic of my memories. There are all kinds of improvements that you can make to people's lives, he said, without diminishing everyone else. Rishi will, I'm sure, confirm this. We call these Pareto improvements, right? And they are the means of levelling up. And the idea, in a nutshell, is that you will find talent, genius, flair, imagination, enthusiasm everywhere in this country, all of them evenly distributed, evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. And it is our mission as Conservatives to promote opportunity with every tool we have. And it is still a grim fact that in this country, that's right. It's all about opportunity. But it's still a grim fact that in this country, some kids will grow up in neighbourhoods that are much safer than others. And some will be, as Priti was saying, some will be sucked into gangs, some will be at risk of stabbing and shooting, some will get themselves caught in the one-way ratchet of the criminal justice system. Many others will not. And that's why levelling up means fighting crime, putting more police out on the beat, as we are, toughening sentences, rolling up the county lines drugs networks, as we are, 1,100 of them gone already, giving the police the powers they need to fight these dealers in death and misery. That's what we want to do. And what's Labour's answer, by the way? To decriminalise hard drugs, apparently, to let the gangsters off with a caution. An answer that is straight from the powder rooms of North London dinner parties and nothing to do with the real needs of this country. It's true. Crime has been falling, and not just, by the way, because we took the precaution of locking up the public for much of the last 18 months, but because you have a Conservative government that understands the broken windows theory of fighting crime. I read a learned article by some lawyer saying we shouldn't bother about pet theft. Pet theft? Well, I say to Cruella de Vil QC, if you can steal a dog or a cat, then there is frankly no limit to your depravity. And you know, those people gluing themselves to roads. I don't call them legitimate protesters like some Labour councillors do. I think some Labour councillors actually glue themselves to roads. I say they're a confounded nuisance who are blocking ambulances, stopping people going about their daily lives. And I'm glad Priti is taking new powers to insulate them snugly in prison where they belong. But what I find most incredible of all was the decision by Labour, now led by lefty Islington lawyers, to vote against tougher sentences for serious sexual and violent offenders. And on behalf of the entire government, I tell you this: we will not rest until we have increased the successful prosecutions for rape. Because too many lying, bullying, cowardly men are using the law's delay to get away with violence against women. And we cannot and we will not stand for it. And I know that there are some who tell us that we're being ungenerous and unfeeling in our attempts to control our borders. And I say, don't give me that. This is the government that stood up to China and announced that we would provide a haven for British overseas nationals from Hong Kong. 30,000 have already applied. And I'm proud to be part. I'm really proud to be part of a Conservative government that will welcome 20,000 Afghans, people who risk their lives to guide and translate for us.